Welcome to Show Sunday, everyone! Today we watched Jujutsu Kaisen, which none of us have actually watched or read the manga for. So,
No.
yet again, I decided to throw us into throw us into a new show that none of us really knew anything about and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sorry we're a week late for this, but weird stuff happens, so oh well, whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, I do think this worked better than Demon Slayer did.
Yeah, this is fucking dope.
This is hilarious.
Yeah, it's like
I was thinking about how the humor landed. I was like, this is like Inuyasha.
Yeah, it's
in terms of the tone.
It's like a mix because the humor part of it, but there is like definitely some legitimate like serious stuff too that works pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was saying we kind of took a little semi break after what episode like 3 or 4 or something, and I said something like of the 3 main kind of characters, the main team. I'm like they're all kind of whack, but for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
And they both play it in terms of the serious moments for it, but also the humorous moments they work too. So it's like a weird thing. Like I feel like this kind of balance is something that like normally doesn't work, but it does here. So yeah.
Because I feel like usually for these kinds of things, you always have like it's like the protagonist guy who's too good for this world, everything. I mean, it starts off the same. He's a normal guy, and then woohoo, he's got powers, and now he's got to join up with all these other people, and there's all this secret society stuff and everything. But even though they have that kind of person, they play it in a different way, and it's not like he's like this too good for this world person. He's just also a normal guy with his own wacky personality.
Yeah,
but I feel like to some extent, all 3 of them are like too dumb to live, and I love that.
Yeah, and like, well, I was also saying that like they kind of the fact that he is like somehow really strong and like fast or whatever. Everyone's like, wait, how the fuck are you doing this? Like, so it helps a lot compared to so many other shows. It's like, look at this totally normal average person who has nothing special about them, but they it's like, all right, like so and I'm sure that that's somehow going to be involved with the story later. So it's nice that they're at least acknowledging that and not just being like, oh yeah, let's look at this normal teenager, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
He is not normal.
So that's nice. And yeah, I don't really know where they're going with this. I mean, it's basically in terms of, because we watched the first 6 episodes, like sort of in episode 5, and then at the end, and then 6, they kind of, or was it all in 6? I don't even remember anymore. They at least introduced this sort of like seemingly kind of this group, but mainly like this guy and this other like evil spirit kind of thing. And presumably I'm assuming this is like, the actual overall plot kind of kicking in. So we just got like a very small taste of that, but we don't really know anything about it. So, I mean, it's one of those where like we stopped at episode 6 because that's sort of the standard, and like it's not like we stopped at a great time, but we don't really know when a good time to stop would be.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But it wasn't like as awkward as like Demon Slayer was, where it was like here's a 5-episode thing, and then episode 6 is completely different. So we didn't have that situation. So okay, fine. But yeah, I don't know. It's good. I don't have too much to say about it. It's just as good. It's entertaining. But also like does some serious stuff pretty well, emotional stuff pretty well, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say.
The animation is really nice too. It's nice and fluid, and I like all the backgrounds and stuff.
It's very pretty, and panda. Just panda.
There's a panda.
That's all we're gonna say. That's all you're. Oh yeah, wait. We watched the dub. Yes. The dub is really good.
Yeah. So we watched the dub, which I haven't presumed that the sub version would also have all the jokes and everything. It's just that the dub kind of changed up the jokes for like English-speaking audiences and stuff. But yeah, the dub was actually pretty good. Like, we couldn't watch the Demon Slayer dub because it was a little too jarring. But this stuff was actually pretty, like, I think it was pretty watchable, and it was pretty funny.
I think it is probably because of the jokes, because I feel like it kind of rolled the same way as when we watched the Inuyasha dub, where it's like the English jokes do help a little bit, because I remember when that scene where he's talking to when Yuji is talking to Satoru, he was just like, oh wait, I wanted to use, like, I heard what he was saying, I was like, I wanted a Bankai and I wanted to use Rasengan, and I was like, they're throwing in all of these other Shonen Jump properties, and I
was actually surprised like how many like actual names of things that they dropped, because they mentioned Smash Bros. I'm like, did not expect that. I don't know, it's kind of odd. But yeah, there
was that, and then there were a couple of other things that they also dropped too, I think, right?
There was something else that was definitely like weird that they mentioned.
The formatting of the jokes is really just well done. Like, the beginning of episode 4, they did like the PowerPoint thing.
Oh yeah, and that guy, I don't remember his name, but the sort of like assistant kind of guy. There's like his whole thing is interesting. So yeah, like a lot of these characters are kind of weird, but like in a good way, in a way that finds where you're like you want to see more of them. I mean, I guess you could kind of say it comes off as a bit like, look at, we're quirky, but it's like, I don't know. I think since they're all kind of like that, it fits within what they're setting up, which is better than like, because usually a lot of shows they'll have like, here is the weird character, you know what I mean? And it's like, here it's just like, no, they're just all kind of fucking weirdos. So it's
they're
like,
all
okay,
weird.
And they kind of acknowledge it in universe too, because I think like Gojo even says, he's like, you have to be crazy to be in this business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to say also like what you were saying about like the dub. I think definitely like humor is something that's really hard to like land the same through like a sub of like another language you don't know, because it's not just the words themselves, but it's like the inflections and the timing and stuff like that. It's a lot harder to like have that effect the same. So I think that's partly why it might work as well as it did in English dub for us.
Dub.
So
I think the voices all match pretty well too.
Like,
I don't know what they sound like in the Japanese one, but like when I heard all the voices, none of them sounded like strange for the person or the character. I was like, yeah, I can see this character having this voice.
I actually like listening to the main guy. I was like, his voice sounds familiar. Do I know him from anything? And like I looked him up, and he has voiced some characters that I know. They're not like characters that I've really watched that much of. So I'm like, I guess it's not anyone that I'm really recognizing. It's just he sounds kind of similar or whatever. What's really weird is that the guy who voices Megami, who has like a generally like pretty deep voice, right? He voices Peter Parker in some animated things, and I'm like, he must have, because that's even some stuff that I've seen, and I'm like, Peter Parker didn't sound like that, so he must have this like pretty different kind of like higher voice, which is like, interesting. How that could kind of range that, because there's definitely some voice actors who like, even if they do a really good job, they kind of do the same voice all the time, and so you really notice it. But yeah, I wouldn't have never guessed for that guy. So, yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
This basically, you may or may not know this already, but this is we highly recommend this anime to watch it, and I'm sure we'll probably continue watching this too.
Yeah, I would love to continue watching this. I guess once we finish Mystery Incorporated, we can perhaps watch this together as well.
Oh yeah, I guess we should mention that we have been continued to watch Mystery Incorporated.
And I want to watch more, but life is kicking my ass, and I'll be free eventually.
Yeah, I was hoping that maybe we could actually see if we could finish it before we do the next video.
I think we probably can. It's just I have to finish up stuff that finishes next week. Actually, when this video comes out, I should be done.
But actually, speaking of Mystery Incorporated, in a weird way, like the way they're really wacky and everything kind of reminds me of the wacky nature of Mystery Incorporated. It's just in a way more serious setting.
Yeah, a little bit. I can see that.
Yeah.
Except, and no gator economy.
That's A gator-based economy.
God. Ugh,
Just panda instead.
just
Yeah,
panda,
yeah,
and then
just panda.
and then the guy who just lists like sushi ingredients for like no reason.
Bonito place tuna.
When he said kelp, I was just like, that's it?
Kelp.
Fuck.
So yeah, it's good. I'm not like, it's one of those things where I don't know. I'm not like, oh my god, I love this or whatever. But again, like it's clearly building up, right? So it's not, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would definitely be down to watch more of this. I'm also not really sure when, because again, besides, as the time we're recording this, I'm dealing with dealing with finals that I'm not taking, but I am administering and then grading. And so there's that, and then of course there's the next week's thing we're going to be doing of the 2021 retrospective, and then I have to do my animated show video, which I'm going to be doing this year as well. And then of course there's the fucking music thing I want to do, and then there's like multiple D&D things I want to do as well.
Alan
And I'm
has
just like,
many things on his to-do
yeah,
list.
so I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like, when am I gonna have time to do shit? Because like there was a show that actually I got like halfway through like early in the year, and then I kind of stopped because like it was sort of split into two parts, and I'm like, okay, part one is done, so I watched part one, and I'm like, and I totally like forgot that like part two was a thing, and so I looked it up, and I'm like, wait, oh, part two's like done, but like I don't have time to watch it, so I'll have to just like watch part two next year, but. Yeah, at some point, and it also helps that again I think this is what 24 episodes, so
Yeah,
yeah,
it's doable.
it's definitely doable. So okay, then yeah, recommend. And well, I mean, I guess we kind of just said what we're doing next week, so
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end of that, you will know what the next January special thing is.
Yes.
All I
the
will
one
say
that I
is-
will be
yes,
taking part in.
Tara is participating, and also it's something a little bit different than what we've done
Mhm.
before. So
What do you mean a little bit different?
well, it's still bad stuff. So I didn't want to say completely different.
I am very hyped for that. And
I am too.
I am as well, which is very strange to say.
January is going to be a lot of fun, guys.
Yes, it is.
Oh boy. Alright, well, with that all in mind, goodbye!
Goodbye.
Bye.